Hi everyone. Today we're going to be taking notes on and learning about Confucius. So if you want to take a minute and even just Google Confucius, see what comes up so you can get a visual of him. There's some interesting images, okay? Confucius was born in 551 BCE. And this was during the decline of the Zhou dynasty in China. Okay, so during the decline, the Zhou had lasted a really long time. And during that decline, there was a time period which is pretty self explanatory. Once you hear the name of it, it was the Warring States period. This is very obvious what was happening. States were warring, okay? So it was a time of civil war. And it was difficult, right? So it felt very chaotic. And Confucius is someone who felt like China was in this state of chaos because they had forgotten the traditions of ancient China. So he started to write down some ideas, and that work is collected in a book called the Analects. Okay, now what's interesting about Confucius is that he was actually not very successful during his life. He had these ideas. He tried to get a job with the government, so he went to local leaders, the leaders of different areas of China, and said, hey, I have these ideas. Here's how I think we can bring order back to China. Here's how I think we can make this more peaceful and better. And they basically all shot him down. No one was interested in those ideas. Okay. But after he died, he had some followers who wrote those ideas down, and eventually they became very, very popular in China. So one of those ideas was filial piety. Okay, so filial piety is respect for elders and ancestors. Okay, so filial is family and piety respect. So Confucianism and the ideas that Confucius taught really reflected what was important to Chinese society. So he didn't necessarily change society. He tried, but it didn't work during his lifetime. But he reflected what was important to the Chinese. And one of those things is family. Family has always been important to Chinese culture, continues to be today. And we see that in Confucianism with filial piety, respect for elders and ancestors. Now, another one of his ideas was the 5 relationships. So let's scroll down here. So he proposed that society should be based on 5 basic relationships. Okay. So the first and most important, according to Confucius, was that between father and son. So the idea is that in each of these relationships, there's a superior member and an inferior member. The superior member, okay, needs to take care of and teach the inferior member how to behave. And the inferior member of that relationship then owes loyalty and obedience to the people who are above them. So the father needs to take care of and teach his son, and the son owes loyalty and obedience to the father. Okay? Now, how does this relate to bringing order to society? Another key relationship for Confucius was that of ruler and subject. Okay, so he taught that a ruler, a king, an emperor, should take care of his subjects, be good to them, model good behavior, and the subjects, the citizens, needed to be loyal and obedient to the ruler. Okay, this also connects to what we've looked at with the mandate of heaven, that if the ruler was not being a good ruler, then he lost the mandate and lost the obedience, the loyalty of the subjects. Okay. Other relationships that were important to Confucius are older brother and younger brother. Okay, and if you have a sibling, maybe this makes sense to you that the older brother is supposed to take care of and teach the younger brother. Maybe if you're the younger brother, you're not so excited about the obedience part, but hopefully you're loyal to each other. And then husband and wife. So the husband was supposed to take care of his wife, and the wife owed loyalty and obedience to her husband. This turns into women really being in a subservient role in Chinese culture during this time. And whenever Confucianism really reinforces the idea that women had to be loyal to their husband and not sort of on their own. The fifth relationship is one of equality, and this is probably one that makes sense to you. So on the bottom, you can see where I am, okay, was friend to friend. And Confucius said friends should really be equal. They should take care of each other, teach each other, be loyal to each other, right? And that would make a good relationship. And so this whole system, Confucius said, if we could follow this system, then it would bring order back to China. Okay, so you want to add to your notes that the goal of Confucianism was to bring order to China. And we see this. We studied the Han Dynasty, and we saw that their implementation of Confucianism with the civil service exams helped them to run the government. Okay, so that was his goal. This is what he taught. And if you have any questions, please write them down on your notes. The next page of your notes are these situations. I'm going to be looking at and scoring these questions. So what you need to do is read each one and then answer based on what you learned about Confucianism. Something you should know is that Confucius taught that education was very important, and all people of all levels should have access to education. So even though he didn't think everyone was equal, he did think they should all be able to be educated. Okay, when you're done, please show it to me. Thank you.